What's good? Bagging out another reaction. This video, you feel me? OceanGate Implosion, first footage of Titan sub wreckage revealed since OceanGate, bro. Since they maneuvered out the little PS5 Amazon controller. Remember? You remember that last year, bro? Remember they kept gaslighting us for about a week to distract us from. We're not even gonna get into that. But let's get into this video. That's what y'all came here for. Let's check it out.
A story that we covered here on Live Now extensively last June when it first happened. Take a look at this. The Titan's submersible implosion. That's the story. Well, the first footage of the wreckage has been revealed as new evidence emerges during this U.S. Coast Guard Marine Board hearing. Take a look at that.
Right
this is
there.
brand new. This is surfaced during this hearing this week there, I believe, in Charleston, South Carolina. Now, the video shows the catastrophic implosion of the 22-foot submersible in June of...
Bro, those walls are so thin. Supposedly, they made it down there before, numerous times, before the OceanGate happened. But you're not telling me those walls are gonna withstand all that pressure, bro. It's not paper mache ass, bro. They said it was carbon fiber that they was crackling every single time they went down. Didn't realize or think about checking for stress cracks. Why is there a belt wrapped around here, bro? What the kind of Walmart belt is that? I ain't gonna lie, this low key looks kind of staged, bro. Call me a conspiracy theorist, but this low key looks a little staged.
last year, resulting in the loss of all 5 people aboard. Now, for more on the hearing and the images we're seeing of the sub, the Titan sub.
Why is there a strap? That's what I'm saying. That's not going to hold all that pressure.
There. We're going to be joined by our longtime friend, maritime expert, Sal Mercogliano, and he joins me. Sal, good to see you here. We had to get you on. We had to do a follow-up on this because we're seeing these images for the very first time. What answers are you hoping to get from this investigation? Did you know that this Coast Guard Marine Board hearing was happening this week? It kind of, from my vantage point, it kind of snuck up on us.
Yeah, it was kind of low-key. They were not announcing it very large, but it was going to be a 2-week hearing where they're really bringing in OceanGate employees and a lot of personnel to kind of get the backstory to find out how this event actually...
Hey, I just noticed he has a Lego globe. What kind of big-ass kid? You truly don't grow up, you know what I'm saying? Mentally, at least.
Unfolded.
Young,
so
bro.
what we've heard so far in the first couple of days here is some of the engineers, some of the workers who have been on the project, and what you're seeing on here right now, this imagery, is part of the submersible. It's actually the back part of the submersible. This is a part that wasn't within the pressure vessel. So that's why you see it in an entirely kind of one piece here. It actually would have come off the back end.
All right, so, you know, I wanted to ask, too, because this was captured just 4 days after the submersible imploded. Why do you think it took us so long to see some of this footage here? I mean, why do we need a hearing for this to reveal itself, so to speak? And to your point, Sal, you and I had discussed at the time that a large chunk of this submersible was completely pulverized by the pressure. So
You can see some more stuff right here in the back, whatever that is.
I think viewers might be surprised that they are seeing that large chunk intact there.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you know, one of the things we got from the hearing...
It looks staged, like they placed it there. And the fact that they kept the hearing under wraps.
so far was some pretty graphic discussions of what happened within the sphere.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, this is a very unique type of submersible. This is not a solid titanium sphere. It's actually
Carbon
2
fiber.
ends of titanium spheres with a carbon fiber module in between it. And what basically they believe happened is one end of this sphere basically detached or allowed water to come in, and those sections basically imploded together and in a time frame that even the people on board would not have been able to process themselves. It was almost instantaneous. But what we're getting now is
So the last thing they heard was a couple cracks, and then they just red mist. Rest in peace to them. But that's crazy. How quick an implosion. You didn't even realize that getting dumped at or a bomb, you know what I'm saying? That's crazy. You didn't even know what happened. They just blinked and that was it. They didn't exist no more.
There's a TikTok of the events leading up to the event. But most importantly, we're hearing from people like the engineer you see right there, who's really talking about his problems he had with how OceanGate was operating. And what we're hearing here is like consistent problems with this vessel. And what's amazing is there was no one to appeal this to because this was an unclassified vessel. And I think that's what the Coast Guard really wants to find out about is whether or not there should have been some sort of oversight, including their own, of this event.
You know, Sal, I wanted to bring up too, you mentioned some of the communication.
I ain't gonna lie. It's involving a lot of important people, sure. But the government shouldn't be involved in everything personally. If there's some crazy wacko wants to go out there and try to look at the Titanic and they know they're going to get hurt, but they're risking it for science, let them. International waters, let them. Personally, bro, you want it, hey, that's freedom right there. You want to go investigate, do whatever it is that you want to look for, go ahead, bro, but don't take nobody with you. You know what I'm saying? Either way, that's crazy, and of course the government wants to get involved because they want the safety. All right, they want to see what they can benefit from it, but safety as well.
That were revealed between those on the sub, on the ocean floor, and those above in the vessel, tracking and monitoring their movements here. One of the last messages that was read was this: "We're all good here." Do you have any idea how much the crew knew before the sub imploded? Has that been revealed in this hearing?
Yeah, listening to some of the people involved, like the dropping of weights, that was standard. When you bring a submersible down to the bottom, you don't have tanks on a submarine to flood. You use basically weights. In this case, they were using steel pipes, and they would create negative buoyancy. In other words, they free fall down to the bottom. And as they get closer to the bottom, they shed weight to create what's called neutral buoyancy. That allows them to maneuver at depth without coming up or down. And based on the communications, everything was operating normally. There did not seem to be any major issues. There was no indication at all that there was an accident. And based on the reports of everyone so far, and again, we've only had a couple of days of the hearing, is the events that unfolded were nearly instantaneous. That it was, they did not know what was going to happen. The problem is that there were indicators long before this that there should have been more concern, including the owner, CEO, who was piloting this vessel. There was a very graphic description of him piloting a sister ship of this, the first version of this vessel, and nearly colliding with another underwater shipwreck. This is the Andrea Doria.
Yeah, you know, Sal, I wanted to ask too, what's the purpose of...
Yeah, I guess there was a lot of indicators that were going up, but they just kept ignoring them. And I guess as they're going down, they tried to go back up, but they couldn't. And then once they imploded, it was on the sonar. So, hey, cave exploring, scuba diving super deep in underwater caves, underwater anything that you have to go super deep where you can't hold your breath, where you gotta like take little rest periods because the way the oxygen if you gotta do that, bro, I do not want to go. None of the skydiving, bro, I'm cool on the ground, I'm cool doing being a square, I'm good, but I do not want to do none of that. I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? Claustrophobia and all that's a real thing, and that's great, bro. I salute to the people that do it. I ain't gonna lie.
Of the investigation, is it just to reveal more information to, you know, shine sunlight on this? It's the best disinfectant, of course. Or is any accountability going to come from this hearing for those involved here? We know a lot of civil lawsuits are ongoing from some of the victims' family members toward OceanGate and the company here. But what should be taken away from once the hearing is all said and done?
Well, the hearing will be gathering evidence, and that's what these type of processes does. And because this craft was built in the United States up in Everett, Washington, it falls under the Coast Guard here. And really, I think one of the things we're trying to do is figure out how these vessels should be categorized. One of the very interesting conversations in the hearing so far was from engineers who sat there and said, everyone in the past have built submersibles and tested them. There was a rigorous procedure for that. It was not followed in this case. Matter of fact, the very first tests were human tests, and that's almost never done in submersibles. So I think one of the things we're going to see come out of this is not just evidence.
Bro did not send an animal down there. He did not send dummies down there. He did not pilot it remotely. Bro sent full-blown humans down the crap that was not even... Bro, I know why that imploded now, bro. You saying you ain't following the rules.
But maybe the Coast Guard putting in place some rules and regulations over submersibles. Let's not forget, is one of the safest modes of transportation in the ocean. Really hadn't seen any loss of life in the 60 years use of submersibles until this event.
You know, Sal, just lastly, it's been now more than a year since this all transpired, and really the world was fixated on this story for so long. Since that time, and you and I at the time had mentioned, this is going to be a watershed moment for this industry, kind of a wake-up call. Since that time, have you seen progress or not?
I'm going to continue the video. The real question that should be asked by this robot right here, this guy looks like a robot. The whole time I was asking that question, his neck was like crinked to the side.
Be a watershed moment for...
Look at that, bro. That's a fucking... That's what, like almost a 90-degree angle right here. It's a cute ass freaking small angle. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is, what they should be asking is, why did they gaslight this story for so long? Why did they keep people on the edge for so long, for like a week or 4 days? Why were they saying that they were running out of oxygen? They're in the middle of the ocean, at the bottom of the ocean floor, running out of oxygen, and they were doing the countdown. They now got 48 hours. They now got 32 hours. They now got X amount of hours left. They ran out of oxygen. They're now led to believe. And then they said, oh, we actually knew. They imploded out on their way down. They didn't even land. They just That's what they should be asking. Why did they gaslight this story for so long? Let me know in the comments below. Get at you on the next one, gang squad. We out.